Buenas noches, clase. Today I'm going to teach you about expressing frequency with adverbs. So, to talk about how often someone does something, you can use expressions of frequency. So, those would be adverbs or adverbial phrases. For example, in English, you would have always or never or rarely, words like that. So, we're going to talk about this in Spanish for the Spanish lesson tonight. So, first of all, I'm going to write some of them down for you, and I'll tell you why I'm color coding later on, okay? So, first one is siempre. Siempre means always. The next one is rara vez. It's actually two words, and rara vez means rarely. And next we have nunca. Nunca means never. Next we have mucho, which mucho means often. As you know, it can also mean much, okay, but in this case it means often. Poco can mean a little. All right. And then three more. Todos los días. You already know this word días, so that should look familiar. It means every day. We have a veces, which means sometimes. And lastly, we have de vez en cuando, which means, I'm not going to have enough room here. I have to move this a little bit. Which means once in a while. All right, so let's go ahead and repeat each of these, and then I'll tell you why I put them in these different colors, okay? So repeat these after me. Siempre, rara vez, nunca, mucho, poco, todos los días, a veces, and de vez en cuando. Okay? So let's talk about why I have them in these different colors. So as you can see here, these three, which I have in this pinkish, maroonish color, these three are in the sentence going to be placed before the verb. Before the verb. Okay, so you would always use those before the verb. These two that I have in green are usually placed after the verb. All right, so mucho and poco are both normally placed after the verb. And then these three that I have in yellow can be placed at the beginning or end of the sentence. So we're going to look at some examples, but the vocab is going to be pretty low tonight just so that you can work on memorizing these concepts. So let's go ahead and look at some examples. All right, I could say, for example, Isabel siempre let's see, habla. Isabel siempre habla. Well, that means Isabel always speaks, right? Or always talks. So this word siempre that we have right here is the adverb for always, And if you remember from the last chart, the word siempre is usually placed before the verb. All right. What about this one? Here's a different one. Isabel habla poco en nuestra clase de matemáticas. Isabel habla poco en nuestra clase de matemáticas. Well, what does that mean? This means Isabel speaks or talks a little in our class of math, or in our math class. Okay, so this word poco, which is your new word, your adverb, means a little. And poco is usually placed directly after the verb. So here's my verb right here, hablar, and so this is where poco goes, right here after the verb. All right, let's go ahead and do one more. With the same concept. All right, what about this one? Oops. Let me get it on pen here. All right. De vez en cuando Isabel habla con su prima. De vez en cuando Isabel habla con su prima. Well, we have our adverb here, de vez en cuando. De vez en cuando means once in a while. Okay. Isabel habla con su prima. Isabel talks with her cousin. But you could also write it like this, saying the same thing because of this kind of verb. You could say Isabel, or excuse me, this kind of adverb, habla con su prima de vez en cuando. So this is saying the same thing, but it's putting the adverb at the end of the sentence. So instead of saying once in a while, Isabel talks with her cousin, it's saying Isabel talks with her cousin once in a while. Okay? So those three, todos los días, a veces, and de vez en cuando, can be placed at the beginning or the end of the sentence, while mucho and poco are always placed directly after the verb, and then siempre, rara vez, and nunca are placed before the verb. All right? So maybe a way to practice these frequency adverbs would be with one of those charts where they survey you. So in this category, we would have siempre, and then maybe we'd have one mucho, and then a veces, and nunca. So it's like surveying when you do things, right? So siempre is always, mucho is often or a lot, a veces is sometimes, and nunca is never. So then if we put an activity in here, let's see. So if you were answering this, you could say, all right, let's see, comer. Como, I don't know, a veces. I eat sometimes. Or leer. Leo mucho. I read a lot. Hablar. Hablo siempre. Or whatever. That way you can know the frequency adverbs. So, a veces como, leo mucho, and siempre hablo, would be the different ways of saying those things to describe when you do them or how often you do them. All right, I think that is all for tonight. So I am going to bid you farewell. Buen trabajo hoy. Buen trabajo hoy. And hasta mañana.